As soon as I entered the house, I searched the entire house. I had reviewed it, and only one thing came out of my mouth. The question was whether it was a house or a soap dish. Henry, after hearing me say, "Such a small house," someone had hit me and I was showing my eyes. He said, "Shut up, we're here for tuition." I have come to study, not to inspect the house. I felt strangely uneasy here. I was wondering why you brought me here. I didn't feel good at all. I was a boy from a rich family. I had a high level of education. The coach at the coaching center was an option, but when Henry told me about this coaching center, I forbade him to look. If we want to pass the matriculation exam, we should get an education in a good place so that we can get good marks to get admission. But Henry said that this woman was very poor. He doesn't have many tuition students, and when we go to him, time will not change. We both will be fine. We can read from him, and it makes us very attentive. I will teach you when Henry gave me this idea. So my mom stopped me from doing it. It was strictly forbidden, but despite that, I forced my mom to agree to something. I had already agreed to the method, otherwise he wouldn't have been happy with the price. So I gave full importance to Henry's words because Henry said that the lady was his neighbor, and he is very satisfied with her performance because he had been studying with her since childhood. And it was true that Henry got very good marks in 9th grade. Also, his marks were higher than mine, so considering Henry's words, I took tuition with this madam. I was supported by the whole world, and finally he also reached this madam's house with Henry. As soon as we got there, we passed through the courtyard. As they started walking towards madam's room, suddenly seeing the madam who was so excited from inside, I stood perfectly still in my place. She was a very beautiful girl wearing a red sari. It seemed like I wanted a million things, even though I couldn't take my eyes off madam's beauty. Her thin waist was beautiful. The face looked like it was open, and her hair looked like a fairy had been sent down from the sky. She had walked close to both of them, and Henry, while looking, said, "This is that boy." They asked me a question while examining me. So I don't know where I got the courage from, but I had gone one step further and extended my hand, saying, "Yes, my name is William. I am Henry's friend. He must have talked to me." The outstretched hand was immediately held and she smiled and said, "Yes, what did you say?" I told him that I was a student, but I didn't know it was that much. The rich man will bring the child after listening to them. I immediately said, "Madam, don't worry. If you don't make me happy, just say you're good to me. Please give me tuition so that I can get good marks." They immediately put their hands on my shoulder and said, smiling, "Hey, don't worry if I didn't make you happy. My name is not Elsie either," they said. She had gone inside while Henry and I had already followed behind them, smiling. I knew she was flirting, but I don't mind their style at all. I felt like I was panicking for a moment. It was definitely felt, but now the panic had gone somewhere far away, and we both sat on the sofas of his small drawing room. She started teaching me math. I was suddenly seeing them more and more. They looked at me and immediately held her ear, saying, "Hey, on the book. Pay more attention than pay attention to me." I smiled and held his hand, taking it and immediately said, "Hey, I miss you. You're so beautiful that I can't take my eyes off you." She immediately burst out laughing and put her hair to one side, looking at me. Her admiring neck was bent even more. I was shining before my eyes. My mother was on the threshold of youth, my dear. She was concerned about such activities and always tried to keep me away. We had a lot of money to save, but my dad was a very good man. He never used a woman as a luxury. They were sincere, and that's what Mommy wanted us to be too. Papa is just like that, but I don't know why I lost my faith when I saw this woman. My breathing felt shaky. The departure was starting to deteriorate. He suddenly had just placed his hand on his neck and looked at me, bending down and looking at the book. She said, "Look what I'm teaching them." The way he spoke was such that I was getting more and more inclined. I had lost my focus, something like that. I didn't want to do what my parents wanted me to do. If I turn away from honor, I immediately lower my eyes. He was about to solve the question when he turned around, and I was sitting next to Henry. I took a look. It was thrown at Henry, who laughed loudly and said, "I was talking to them, and I didn't know what to say." Keep your secrets and needs in a low voice, bowing down. Henry was a poor boy and lived in a poor area, but despite that, he was my best friend. There was a very good friendship between us, which is why my mother used to object, saying, "What do you do when you stand up and sit down among the people of standard?" You have made friends with the poor, while I always used to shake off what Mimi said. You didn't say anything about Henry like that. He is my best and most special friend. And Mimi always frowned on that. We used to leave at 7 in the evening. It was when I packed my bag, etc. I was standing in the kitchen, watching my eyes. I went to Madame, and as soon as my eyes fell on her, when she went to her back, I couldn't help but look away. I wasn't taking it because they were behind me. He was wearing a very deep choker which made his nakedness visible for a few moments. I was just watching them, and then suddenly when they turned around and saw me, I was scared and lowered my eyes. And he went outside with Henry. When I came out, Henry put his hand on my neck and said, "How did you like it, madam?" I immediately smiled and, looking at him, said, "My friend, call me Hussein. You said she was a poor woman, but this sari looks very rich. I saw how classy she was dressed." Henry was shocked after hearing what I said, and while looking at me said, "So this is it? Poor, but they have plenty to wear. If you are interested, you can do most of this by taking tuition. I just do shopping." I nodded my head slightly. And now, after saying goodbye to Henry, I got out my bike and headed straight home. It had been a long time since I had been gone, so I didn't think it was appropriate to be late. When I got home, I saw my father in the lounge. I had already understood that maybe he would be waiting for me a little while. I was a little nervous because I just agreed to this. Did Papa know about it? I never thought I would find such a cheap tuition center. I am going to study. I am walking slowly. I exited the back and went to my room. I wanted to go when they suddenly stopped me. I called out, and when I turned around, he saw me. I was pointing towards you. He had reached them in a panic when they looked at me and said, "Where are you from?" I took a deep breath and surrendered to the wind. It was there, and it stood there motionless because I had to answer. I tried to confront them. I had the courage to say, "Tell mommy," and had also taken permission from them. I am a teacher who teaches alongside Henry. Papa had gone to the woman for tuition. I really enjoyed their teaching. I did very well in math and all other subjects. I don't think they taught me well. I need a big coaching center, and I am sure that this time my 9th grade marks will be higher than my father's. He glanced at her and then suddenly thought they had stood up from their seats, that they would scold me, but they did not. He had a hand on my shoulder, and my eyes were watching and saying, "Never have I ever seen anyone like this. If there is any difficulty, come straight to me. Anna, if you have already made this decision to study in this coaching center, I won't stop you at all, but I will definitely say that you are in such an area. I am going to read where there is a lot of slander. It is applied with ease, that's why I give you this much. That my heart and mind are present and never do anything wrong yourself. Not to get involved and never have any problems. If so, I will be with you and always will be. I will stand by you, your father. They are behind you, so don't worry. You are my best son. I trust you." Saying this, they left while I stood there completely stunned because Papa has never treated me like this before. You said for a moment in my eyes. Their words were very sweet to me. The passion had spoken, but I immediately regained control of myself and shook my head. I was sitting in the room, lost in my thoughts. Papa was talking, but suddenly Henry's phone call blew my mind. When I received the call, it was a joke. There was a sound just a little while ago. Madam came to my house, and she told me she got your number from you. How are you? Let me say one thing between you both. The pair looked amazing, I told them. I was surprised to hear this and said, "Did they really take my number?" I immediately said, "You won't believe it, man." She looked so much happier than she was. There was no limit. Even Mummy was asking which of your friends is taking tuition from him. It went to our house by itself. After taking the number and listening to Henry, I don't know why my heart feels a strange tickle. I was getting 2 or 3 more. We talked and then hung up the phone. It had only been a short while since I received a notification on my mobile. I picked up the mobile phone in my hand and saw in front of me. I was getting a message from Miss Hay, who said hello to me. She was talking while looking at the picture on her DP. I immediately recognized that this number was theirs. I replied to them immediately. I also received a message from him immediately. I took the number so that no one would ever call me. If there is work or if I need to talk to you about something, I can talk to you directly, Henry. Don't feel the need to put them in the middle. I also expressed my happiness upon hearing that. How nice was it to get your number? If I have to ask something, I'll direct you. I will call them soon. He was talking to me. He liked me. I was asking about dislike the whole time. I was also surprised that why is this being so frank with me? Then I thought he was cheerful. That's why you're so much freer than me. Otherwise, all the teachers I have had till now, I saw everyone just getting angry. I talked to them for about 2 hours. I was doing it after that I got mine. The mobile phone was turned off and I went to sleep. I had gone to bed the next day as usual. Henry and I had passed away before their time. He had arrived at the house to study tuition. We were warmly welcomed upon our arrival. What was it? And today I also had tea with my beloved. Henry had made it with his own hands and immediately fed it. I said, "Madam, you have done a great injustice. When I used to come to you alone, you never made me tea, and this as soon as you arrive, immediately bring him tea." After listening to Henry, he said, "I had planted it, and while looking at it, I spoke. I feel very sorry for the child. It feels good." He hugged me as soon as he said that. I had put my hand out, and I was with you. While planting, her nature spoke. The style is great, and it's so good looking. "Yes," she said, pulling my cheek. Time was a little shy for a moment. I had started to pass slowly now. I used to go to him every day to study, so there was less, but there was more conversation. Now it had become so that often, sometimes she would fall on me laughing. She became a little more kind to me. There were many times when I was surprised. Why are they doing this? But then I thought that a single woman has a lonely heart. It wouldn't seem like we were both grown-up young people. That's why they are so frank with us. But what did I know that the matter here was different? I wasn't able to go to coaching today. It was my cousin's son's birthday today. That's why I took leave from them today. But I didn't know that the next day, a great tragedy is about to befall me. How life is going to change for those who love me. They are like traitors who come home at night. When I arrived, I had a message from Miss. I was surprised to see his message in which he had clearly written that I should ask you. I have something very important to say. I'm worried. I was out of breath. What happened that made you feel so alone? I want to talk to you right away. They replied, "Miss, how are you?" What happened? You seem quite worried. As soon as my message arrived, their message had arrived. I'm starting to feel very lonely. I don't know why I don't know your absence today. It doesn't look good, madam. What kind of loneliness is that? I knew very well what I was doing. I received another message from madam. Let me tell you, after reading this message from him, all the hairs on my body stood up. I immediately sat up, feeling like a young man. It was on the doorstep, so all this was very important to me. It looked good. I bought them right away. I had answered, "Yes, I'll listen to you. I'm ready for," and then what they said. I was so embarrassed after hearing that. She started saying that I felt like seeing you. You have strange feelings. You are young. You're beautiful. I look young too. I know you were made just for me. I am much older than you, but I love you. I don't see any age in you. I have started to love and relate to you. I want to make this clear to them. My hands were shaking as I read. I immediately looked around to see if anyone was there. Don't read this message, I'll immediately sidestep it. Pouring water from the jug on the table, I had put the whole glass down my throat with my lips. My condition improved somewhat after taking the eggs, and I immediately said, "What do you mean?" "I don't mean what you say. I understand what he said yesterday about my question. You just came ahead of time. I told Henry yesterday. I have been given leave only for tomorrow. I want to have a good time with you." For a moment, I felt like I had to tell them. I should stop it because it is a sign of danger to me. I was feeling it, but then I thought about it. That fate doesn't give you the chance again and again. There's no problem. I said okay and called. I had stopped because if I asked them anymore, if I had talked, my condition would have worsened. So I spent the whole night in this same state of anxiety. Henry had asked me in the classroom too. I asked many times that you seem very quiet, but I didn't say anything. I just was silently thinking about the same thing, not wondering what relationship she was talking about. I was not a child. Many things happened to me. I also knew that that's why I was a little worried about Papa's advice to Mummy. I remembered all the instructions, but I couldn't stop myself, and prematurely had reached Madam's house today. She was wearing a short top that showed off her thin figure. The waist was clearly visible, so was that dupatta. She wasn't wearing it, and today she didn't even do her hair. They were paired up high. The admired neck was before my eyes. My eyes sparkled for a moment, but I immediately averted my gaze. I thought I was saying something or understanding something. She was sitting next to me, and as soon as I saw it, it was attached to my chest. I was like, "If you bite me, I'll bite you." There is no blood in my body. It touched my chest. The string of sorrows she herself spoke while crying. I'm starting to feel very lonely. You see your whole life inside you. Will you be my life partner? As soon as she said that, she came very close to me. I feel warm breath on my face. I was also slowly drifting away. I was like, how long will I stop myself? There was also a man. Now I bow to him or not. Before anyone could move, she spoke. It was like, let's go out into the open air and go. They stand for a while so that I can, if my health recovers, I will immediately. She had moved away from me and was with me upstairs. I was walking towards them too, behind them. He crossed the stairs behind and reached the roof. It was a very low-class area where all the roofs meet each other. She had taken me to a corner and not. I don't know why I lost control and taking Madam into his care in an instant, now before I make any major progress. They just pushed me hard and pushing me away from myself, pushing me away, I was starting to feel very bad. I was terrified of what had happened to them. She started running. "What are you doing? Leave me alone." He placed his hands on hers tightly like this. I was acting like I was with them. I was nervous and said, "I'm forcing you." "What happened, madam?" The roof behind was just now. Henry had appeared from the cell phone in his hand. He was right in front of us, holding the phone, and Madam ran after Henry. While Henry was looking at me, he said, "You should be ashamed to be so rude to Madam." I immediately said, "You are acting morally." I didn't do anything. It happened to me. He had now put the mobile phone in his pocket, and then suddenly they both started talking. I started laughing so hard, I was already scared and Henry was near me. He came and put his hand on my neck and smiling said, "My dear, you've been trapped. Watch this video of you. It's on my mobile phone, and now we both go to the police station and file your complaint. I will do it. Your father will find out. And you spent your entire career in prison. You're ruined, and you'll be in prison for the rest of your life." Listen to this while trying to seduce a woman. My life was about to slip out of my hands. My legs started shaking badly, and that woman had also come to me now. And while looking at me, she said to someone, "What? I know that you are not with me, but I am with you. If you want us to come now, you only have one way to escape. Give me 1 million and save your life. It's so big." My parrots flew away when I heard about the money. Looking at her, he said, "Madam, this is for me." It's not possible. Yes, I am very rich, but my dad only gives me pocket money, which is only for my livelihood. I can't arrange such a large amount of money. Excuse me, I'm leaving here. If you need anything else, I can give it to you. I'm ready, they both said once again. I had applied, and Madam had said, if you don't do this, remember that except for you, nothing but humiliation will happen, so it's better. You have to arrange money for this situation. I was reaching for the sky with my worries. And now I am in the same predicament. I had already arrived home, but my mind was completely blank. It wasn't working. I don't understand anything. I was wondering who I should tell my problem to. The one I considered a loyal friend is a traitor. It turned out that this traitor was in league with this woman. I was ruined in an instant. I was sitting in the lounge for a long time. Tears welled up in my eyes and my heart was restless. It was over. I cursed myself a lot. Why did I fall for this woman's temptation? Why didn't you stop him, but I have him? There was no answer to these things anymore. I was tired. I decided that I would steal now. Ga took money out of Papa's drawer and gave it to this woman. I will give it to him so that his mouth can be shut, but they say that the wrong person never wins. It has never happened, and it will never happen. I am very careful. I had come to Mommy and Daddy's room. It was clear that Papa was in his office, and I went to my aunt's house. I took money out of my father's drawer very calmly, but I would have gone back before that. My breath caught in my throat because Papa was standing in front of me. I was in a bad mood. I was terrified. The bundle of money fell from my hand. They had fallen, and then I thoughtlessly clung to Papa's chest and screamed. I cried. I was only 16 years old at the time. I didn't know anything and how our parents raised us with love and care. We never grew up. I told everything to my father while crying. While Papa hadn't said anything to me, they immediately contacted this woman and my friend. A report was filed against him, and only 2 had both been beaten to death by sticks. They had learned their lesson, but Papa had my class too. I had stopped going out to meet friends. The burning had also stopped, and I had no objection because of this incident. Later, I was very scared myself. I was young. Giving this message or all lessons to the generation, I want that despite the modern era, even the people who live here still love each other. But they do not stop committing injustice, so it is necessary that the new generation that is just making its way has to think carefully about every step, because the path has few sincere companions and few hidden enemies. There are many friends related to this video. What is your opinion? Let us know in the comment section. Please let me know your valuable opinion, and if you like the video, like it. Along with doing this, this channel also subscribes for more such new content. Keep the videos coming to you on time. Thank you.